Bangladesh is entering one of the most consequential political moments in its recent history. After nearly 2 decades of exile, a central figure from one of the country's most powerful political dynasties has returned home at a time of deep uncertainty, fragile governance, and an approaching national election. This video explains who Tarique Rahman is, why his return after 17 years matters, how the political landscape has shifted since last year, and what his reappearance could mean for Bangladesh's future stability, leadership, and democratic direction. On Thursday, Tarique Rahman, the acting chairman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, arrived in Dhaka after living in self-imposed exile in the United Kingdom since 2008. Now 60 years old, Rahman is widely regarded as the political heir to the BNP and a leading contender for the Prime Minister's office ahead of general elections scheduled for February. His return marked the end of a long absence shaped by legal battles, political rivalry, and a volatile era of Bangladeshi politics dominated by two competing families. Rahman's arrival was not quiet or symbolic alone. Hundreds of thousands of BNP supporters gathered along the route from Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport to the party's reception venue in the capital. Supporters waved flags, carried banners, and lined the streets under heavy security arrangements. Senior BNP leaders greeted him at the airport, reflecting the party's intention to project unity and momentum after years of political marginalization. In a carefully choreographed moment, Rahman stepped barefoot onto Bangladeshi soil and lifted a handful of earth, a gesture meant to underline his reconnection with the country after years abroad. The act resonated strongly with supporters who view him not just as a political leader, but as the continuation of a legacy rooted in Bangladesh's post-independence history. Rahman currently serves as the acting chairman of the BNP, a role he assumed due to the declining health of his mother, former Prime Minister Khaleda Zia. At 80 years old, Zia has been seriously ill for months, leaving a leadership vacuum within one of the country's largest political parties. Rahman's return is widely seen as a step toward formally taking control of the party's strategic and electoral direction. In his address to supporters, Rahman framed his message around unity, national reconciliation, and security. He emphasized inclusivity across religious and regional lines, highlighting Bangladesh's diverse population that includes Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and Christians living across both urban centers and rural areas. He also stressed the importance of peace, repeating calls for calm and cooperation as the country approaches elections amid tension and uncertainty. His return comes against the backdrop of dramatic political change. In 2024, longtime Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was removed from power following a student-led uprising that reshaped Bangladesh's political order. Hasina's Awami League, which had governed for much of the past 2 decades, now finds itself excluded from participating in the upcoming election. This has fundamentally altered the balance of power and opened space for opposition forces, particularly the BNP, to reassert themselves. Since Hasina's ouster, Bangladesh has been governed by an interim administration led by Nobel Peace Prize laureate Muhammad Yunus. While Yunus remains personally popular and internationally respected, the interim government has struggled to fully stabilize law and order. Analysts point to lingering influence from officials aligned with the previous administration within security forces and state institutions, complicating governance during the transition period. Observers describe the current moment as one marked by institutional fragility. With elections approaching, concerns persist over sporadic violence, attacks on media organizations, and political intimidation. Although authorities have pledged to ensure a free and peaceful vote, the absence of the Awami League from the electoral process has raised fears that unrest could disrupt polling or undermine legitimacy. Rahman's political journey has been shaped by controversy and exile. He left Bangladesh in 2008 initially seeking medical treatment after allegedly being tortured while in custody during the military-backed caretaker government that ruled between 2006 and 2008. During his years abroad, he faced multiple criminal cases at home, including convictions delivered in absentia on charges such as money laundering and involvement in a plot linked to an alleged assassination attempt on Sheikh Hasina. These legal barriers prevented his return for years. However, following the collapse of Hasina's government, courts overturned those convictions, removing the legal obstacles that had kept Rahman out of the country. The reversal of these rulings was a pivotal moment, allowing him to re-enter Bangladesh's political arena at a time when leadership within the BNP was urgently needed. Bangladesh's political history has long been defined by rivalry between two figures, Sheikh Hasina and Khaleda Zia. For decades, power alternated between these two leaders, whose personal and political animosity shaped governance, policy direction, and street-level politics. Khaleda Zia entered politics after the assassination of her husband, President Ziaur Rahman, in 1981. Sheikh Hasina, in turn, is the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Bangladesh's founding leader. With both women now absent from frontline leadership, Hasina removed from power and Zia incapacitated by illness, the stage has been set for a generational shift. Rahman's return symbolizes this transition, positioning him as a central figure in shaping the next chapter of Bangladeshi politics. Public opinion data suggests momentum is on the BNP's side. A December survey conducted by the US-based International Republican Institute indicated that the BNP is projected to secure the largest share of parliamentary seats if elections proceed as planned. The Islamist Jamaat-e-Islami party is also expected to compete, while the exclusion of the Awami League has added an unpredictable element to the electoral landscape. Despite this apparent advantage, Rahman faces significant challenges. Bangladesh remains deeply polarized, and critics question whether a figure so closely associated with past political battles can truly unify the nation. Others argue that his long absence from the country could limit his understanding of recent social and economic shifts, particularly among younger voters who played a decisive role in last year's protests. At the same time, Rahman's supporters believe his leadership offers clarity and direction at a moment of uncertainty. They argue that his return fills a power vacuum within the BNP and provides the party with a clear face ahead of the election, something it lacked while its chairperson remained incapacitated. Rahman's homecoming also carries a deeply personal dimension. Shortly after arriving, he was expected to visit his mother, whose deteriorating health has been a source of concern for months. For many BNP supporters, the image of a son returning to both his country and his family reinforces the emotional resonance of the moment. As Bangladesh moves closer to the polls, Rahman's presence is likely to reshape campaign dynamics, voter mobilization, and negotiations around power sharing. Whether his return brings stability or intensifies political competition will depend on how he navigates calls for unity while leading a party poised to reclaim national leadership. What is clear is that his arrival marks a defining moment. After 17 years in exile, Tarique Rahman has stepped back into a political arena transformed by upheaval, protest, and transition. His next moves will not only determine the future of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, but could also influence the trajectory of a country still searching for balance between democracy, order, and reconciliation.